A year was good, y'all. It's your boy with the God. You are now watching the Book of O, the Book of O podcast. This is my first episode on the Book of O, alright? And we'll be covering what it means to be woke, signs of being woke, what you notice when you're woke, and the side effects of being woke, alright? So, with all that being said, remember to keep open ear, keep open mind, and enjoy the show.
For those of you talking about, people who want to be woke, people who don't want to be woke, or whatever like that. I don't know if you really have like a choice in the matter. It's what happens is your awareness. Now, if you look into, what's going on with science, astrology, star alignments and all that stuff, you know that the Earth has magnetic poles. There's magnetic energy all around us, right? There's cosmic energy also all around us. Life is all energy. Now, when the stars line up, when the planets line up in a certain way, it releases a certain type of energy, you know, like through the universe, right? And we feel that because our brains has crystals in it. Our bodies have crystals in it. And what crystals do is crystals are able to receive like magnetic influences, right? The human beings, we also have like our own magnetic poles, our own magnetic north and south pole, just like the planet does, because the planet is also a being. All right. So if I haven't lost you yet, just stay with me, right? So what's been happening lately, the reason why there's more and more people being quote unquote woke is because there have been releases of cosmic energy that have unlocked things within some of us that allows us to see things differently, allows us to be more aware of things, pick up on things, ask more questions, think more, right? Now, for the people who are not woke, people who do not feel that we're being lied to, the people who do not see what's going on with the media, the music industry, and Hollywood, and the people that do not see how history and the history book has been changed, the people who believe in the typical mainstream science and don't think there's anything else, you know, people who just believe what other people tell them rather than asking questions and going by their own intuition. Those are the people that, most people call sheep, right? Because they're just following the herd, following the shepherd, you know. As long as the farm keeps them fed and safe, they'll just do whatever's being told. They'll go to work when they're supposed to go to work, they take their days off when they're supposed to take their days off, and so on and so forth, right? But for the people who are woke, it's like, all right, there's a system in place, but you got to know how to move within the system so you can attain your freedom. There's economic systems, financial system, and things like that. Now, one thing that we notice is, you hear about these laws, right? Everything is governed by law, science, nature, the universe, creation. So there's different laws for those things. Now, the problem with man is when the laws of man combat or go against the laws of nature, the universe, and creation. So that's where man steps out of line, and that's usually where there's evil intent behind it. Because if there's good intent behind it, there's no need to break any natural, universal, or laws of creation, right? So, like I said, there's three laws. I mean, there's three levels of laws before we get to the levels of, laws for man and society, which has to be I want to say mixed, meshed, or like integrated with the laws of creation, the universe and nature. So the laws of creation deal with creation in general, everything. Do you ever heard about you? I know you guys heard of like a multiverse, multi dimensions, and things like that, right? There's different universes. This is the third dimension, so this is a different type of universe right here, right? the material physical universe or the third dimension that is controlled by a certain type of consciousness, right? It's by a certain type of consciousness that controls this universe, this holographic, third dimensional universe. But then there's us, right? Our consciousness, which is connected to the grand consciousness, which the consciousness of creation, because that's what people will consider God, right? The creator. There is one consciousness of creation that we're all linked to, that we're all attached to. So human beings and other beings, but human beings in general share one consciousness, right? We really share one big mind. Now, what it is that it's one big mind broken up into billions of pieces to attain knowledge and wisdom. It broke itself up into a bunch of different pieces so it could feel different things, it could notice different things, it could see things from different point of views. Let's say if you go to like a mountain or you go to a river or something like that, right? If you stand at one point around the river on the mountain, you see one point of view. You stand at another point, you see another point of view. Now imagine if you have billions of points, right? You have billions points of views. So you're able to get, when you put those things, those views together, now you got the big picture. Now you know what's going on below, you know what's going on in the middle, you know what's going on above, you know what's going on ahead and stuff like that. You can see a lot of what's going on, and that's kind of what the consciousness is doing. So, like for instance, me talking to whoever's listening right now is basically me talking to myself, me reminding myself, me sharing with myself my point of view. Get it? All right, cool. So the thing with, once you're woke, and once you notice those things, once you believe in this thing we call consciousness, and you recognize the laws, right? So the laws of creation, there's only five laws in the laws of creation, and the laws of the universe, the universal laws, I think it's like anywhere from 12 to 13, right? So there's five laws of creation, 12 or 13 laws of the universe, and then you get the laws of nature, which are the laws placed by the being that we know as Earth, right? The Earth has its own laws that you gotta respect. Then we have, societal laws, right? The laws of society for people to interact with each other and, live civilized and be able to build together and everything like that, right? And then people have, their own laws, their own values and things. Just like how we have our own laws, that we have our own levels of respect that we expect, our own ways of doing things, like for instance, you come to my crib, take your shoes off at the door, um, you know, don't look at your phone while you're talking to me, things like that. Those are like little laws that we have for, communicating with us. So like there's no issue, don't spit in my face and stuff like that. You spit in my face, it's gonna be a violent consequence. So just like how we have those little laws for respect and stuff like that, the earth also has that, and it's called the laws of nature. And just like the earth has that, there's a being that we know as a universe. Just like the earth is a being, the universe is also a being, and that being has its laws that you should not disrespect or violate. You feel me? Or else that being will have a way to deal with you. Then you got the being creation, right? That being also have laws put into place, that those laws you cannot break. All right, those laws will get you. Once you see that, right, and then you look at what man has done, what the ones in control have done, the elites, the elite, the top and top of the elites, the ones that knows what's going on, the ones that make plans for thousands of years and stuff like that, right? Those people, once you see, like once you know the truth, once your eyes are open, you recognize the laws of creation, the universe, the laws of nature, um, how people should be, Once you see things clearly, you start asking more questions. Once you look into, the real history of this planet, the real history of humanoid beings when they came to this planet. So I'm talking about, the Anunnaki, Nemphal, whatever, that giant species, right? That the Anunnaki, when they had kids with people from the planet Earth, and they were having these giant kids and stuff like that, right? So once you look into all that and you see there's been technology that's been around for thousands of years, right? Mainstream science and mainstream education, and I'm using the terms mainstream because there's different sciences, there's different educations, right? And it's all been layered, 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 layered. But the mainstream one, that's the one that's controlled by whoever controls the money. So if you control money, you could control education, you could control the mainstream history, mainstream medicine, anything that the word mainstream can be attached to, which means the type that the media and governments and stuff like that push and accept, like major powerful countries accept, that is all linked to the main agenda. You gotta look at these other different things, the other different, talk to real historians, real scientists, real archaeologists, and stuff like that. And then you notice that things are being hidden, things are being destroyed, and things are being tampered with, right? This is old quote that goes, if you control the past, you control the future. If you control the present, you control the past. I'll repeat that again, right? I'm going to say it in a different way. Those who control the past control the future. Those who control the present control the past. What happened is the people that became in control at a present moment wanted to rewrite the past in order to go into to work with their agenda, what they're trying to do, what their plan is going forward, right? So they have to destroy history and make up a new history. By making up a new history, you create a new future, your own future. If you could affect what people believe to be true, people believe to be possible and stuff like that, you could affect the future and you could slow down the process of human development, the way you see fit. But the thing is that there are so many people searching for the truth. There are so many people being woke. There are so many people realizing the wrong that's going on and searching for truth and putting the work out there and doing the research and putting it out there for people to understand and people to get to. That it's getting harder and harder to bullshit the past. You know what I'm saying? This whole that, oh, the human man is only like 10,000 or 30,000 years. The Homo sapiens sapiens have been on this planet, blah blah blah. The oldest humanoid was like a monkey type dude that we came from monkeys and shit like that. You know, all that bullshit from mainstream science, right? When you look into what the real history is, like, archaeology and things that they've discovered that's been around for millions of years, thousands of years, right? They even found these like metal balls, right, in South Africa that you could tell they were machined, metal balls that were machined to be shaped like that. That doesn't happen in nature. Nature does not give you a perfect metal ball with like an equator on it and like a perfect dot in it. Nature does not do that. You feel me? So that was machined, and the balls date back to as far as 2.8 billion years ago. Repeat that again. The balls, pause, date back to as far as 2.8 billion years ago. Now, once you're woke, you also realize that, of course, we're not the only beings in the universe, right? More people are accepting that. Now, you also got to realize that there were beings from other planets that were on this planet before us. Also, you got to take into account that there is a possibility that the beings from other planet were the ones that had a hand in creating us. Think about it. Look at what we could do, what we could create, what we could duplicate, right? And we only been, we only had modern science or mainstream science for, a couple thousand years, a couple hundred years is where science has really been moved on and stuff like that. Now, and supposedly our civilization is only like, 10,000 years old, 5,000 years old, whatever it is you want to believe, right? Still is a couple thousand years old. Now imagine there's civilizations that have been around for millions of years. Imagine their technology. Imagine their science. All right. Imagine what they can do. We could freaking create strawberries, right? We could duplicate and create our own strawberry, create our own fruits, create our own plants. Plants is a form of life. So we know how to create life. We know how to plant the seeds, put the seeds somewhere in the earth so the earth could give us, life. It's the same thing. We do the same thing with animals, right? People have been creating animals. Look at all these different forms of dogs. Do you think chihuahuas are like came from nature? No, we created fucking chihuahuas. So the same way we create different breeds of dogs, different breeds of cats, different breeds of animals, you know, these beings that have been around for millions, maybe even billions of years are super ahead of us. We're able to create a being like us. And they implanted in us this thing called consciousness. You look into the Anunnaki, the Sumerian tablets and stuff like that, or even the Emerald tablets, right? You will see that they gave us something called consciousness. Consciousness is what links you to creation, it links you to nature, it links you to the universe. It's the grand link. That's why human beings are different from animals. We're different from lions, cats, and stuff like that, right? They're programmed solely for survival. For survival. Us as human beings, we can create, we can we can do more than just survive. We could put it so that way we don't have to um, rely on the weather for when we eat. We don't have to rely on when herds of animals come through our territory for us to have meat. We don't have to rely on the fall and the spring and stuff like that to have fruits and shit, right? We don't gotta rely on that. We see how nature works, and then we work with nature, so that way we don't have to, be in survival mode that way, right? The lowest form a person could be in is survival mode. That's the most animalistic form. In your animalistic form, you can just, watch the National Geographic or Discovery Channel. You can see how animals are, and that's how niggas are in the hood. You feel me? That's how any ghetto or anywhere where there's limited resources, right? And you got a lot of people, and it's basically survival of the fittest in those areas is gonna have a very, you know, animal type feel to it. Feel me? In nature, the strong survive. In nature, aggression leads to victories. So that's what's advertised in the hood too, right? The most aggressive people, the biggest, the strongest, you know, get ahead in the most animalistic type of ways, right? Just take what you want, kill or be killed. That's all survival mode. That's all animalistic, that's the animal mindset right there. That's the lowest form. Then you got the mental form, right? You got the mental form. Mental form is where, you're using science, where you're just above the animal form in the mental form, right? You're able to compute things, you're able to see what works, what doesn't work. You notice that aggression is not always the way. You're able to talk your way out of things, or just avoid things in general. Um, Go to safe places. You have your, you basically you're out of survival mode, right? Out of survival mode, you get your schedule and shit put together. You're a bit more comfortable than a person that's in survival mode. Then you got your spiritual level. That's the highest level, right? Once you're in your spiritual level, that's where you actually have peace of mind. Because survival mode, you're in stress level, right? That's the most paranoid form right there, because you're worried about food, you're worried about survival, you're worried about who's after you, who you got to get after, what you're gonna take next. You got to keep on thinking about those things. You're not able to look that far down the line. That's why, like, even dudes that are like very successful in the hood, when you take that route, you take the street life and shit like that, it's you're not planning for the you're not planning for the long road. You're not planning for it. That's why you got to watch out with, mainstream media, the music industry, and Hollywood, because they paint this picture, this fantasy life for the streets, where like they almost glamorize the whole quote unquote gangster mentality of not gangster, let's say thug, because gangster is a whole different thing. This whole thug street hoodlum mentality where the whole YOLO thing, live for right now, like don't plan for the future. But once you get out of the survival mode, now you can plan a little bit longer. You're not planning for this summer, next summer, this weekend and stuff like that. Now you're planning for 5 years from now, 3 years from now, 10 years from now, right? That's the mental aspect. Now, when you get to the spiritual aspect, that's when you're, out of survival mode, you're out of your own head, you unlocked, the pathways to your spirit, you're attached to consciousness now. So now you're planning for even farther ahead. Now you're planning on a bigger scale because you see things on a bigger scale. Now you're thinking about society. Survival mode, you're just thinking about you and yours. How do you keep you and yours alive, right? In the mental mode, you're trying to see where's your status at in society, right? Where are you at in society, and you're just trying to solidify, survival for yourself and for your next generation, right? So you're trying to solidify. In your spiritual mode, what you're doing is you're trying to uplift and connect the rest of the world. You're trying to connect humans, connect to animals, connect to everything. You wanna you wanna be more aware. You wanna seek knowledge. You wanna seek more wisdom. You want more abilities. You wanna be able to do more, and then you want others to do more. You want to share that. You want to share your wisdom. You want to share your love. You want to share your power, your ability to do things. You want to share these things because that's what we're really programmed to do. We're programmed to love and share. That's the part of being woke. So once you realize these things, these are the emotions. It usually comes with negative emotions at first, especially if you're used to being in survival mode. Like in the hood, for instance, it's like you're not allowed to be sad. You feel me? Because in the wild, in nature, the sad animal is a dead animal. So the negative emotion that you're allowed to have is anger. Anytime you feel sad or you feel depressed, something like that, you gotta turn that into anger because anger gets things done. So that's why you go to the hood and you go to different ghettos and places like that. People are a bit more aggressive because anger and aggression is what gets things done. If you're passive, you're sad, you're depressed and shit like that, you're gonna in the wild, you're gonna eventually die. Like, like you're not gonna eat, you're not gonna get food because resources are limited. You're gonna live in the shittiest way. You're not gonna have nice clothes. You're not gonna attract the best mate or whatever like that if you're in those areas. If you're sad and shit, you're just not. You're gonna get the worst of the worst because you're in the wrong vibration. Anger is also a low vibration, but it's a higher vibration than sadness. All right, where you want to be at is you want to be at, like in a loving, happy, joyful vibration. But you also got to be aware when you're around, aggression and stuff like that. Because if you're too happy, you're too nice around the wrong kind of people or in the wrong environment, it can be seen as weakness. If you're not careful, you will be taken advantage of, or something else. But consciousness will protect you. Intuition will protect you. Use that if you're in tune with yourself, you know when to leave, you know when to go somewhere, you know when to when to rendezvous, and things like that. So at first, like I said, depends on if you live more comfortable. People that live comfortably, it's okay to be sad. People, if you're like from the suburbs, a more privileged area and stuff like that, being sad is okay. People try to cheer you up when you're sad. Your parents take care of you. The school takes care of you. You go to psychiatry and shit like that. The hood niggas don't got time for that shit. Everybody's too busy trying to make money to either get out the hood or put food on the table, pay rent. People are just busy trying to survive. The anger is there. So the first thing that happens when you become woke is you become angry about when you learn about the past, when you're seeing what the music industry is doing, when you're seeing what Hollywood's doing, when you're seeing what education and medicine is doing, when you're noticing and seeing these things, you get angry, okay, and you want to do something because you're so used to doing something when you're angry. It's very important when you first start being woke to learn to meditate and write things down. Journal and meditation go a long way once you've been woke. And you got to give yourself time to change and process. You feel me? You also notice that we're like computers. People are like computers. So we have a hard drive, we download information, we can be programmed. That's why TV shows and stuff like that are called programs because they're meant to program you. School education, public school education is also programming. All these things, the music industry, programming, Hollywood, programming. So keep that all in mind. Remember, mainstream media is main agenda. Keep that all in mind. Now back to us being computers, we have this thing called DNA. What does DNA do? DNA stores. DNA is a storage. DNA is what, your ancestors, um, parents, all that stuff. Everything they learn, everything they've been through and stuff like that is in your DNA. Your body already has it. There's no reason, once we understand that there's no reason for us to be taking, these vaccines and all these other type of things, when if our parents already got sick for something, we don't have to take a vaccine or something like that for us to defeat that sickness. It's already in our DNA. It's already in our bodies. All right. There are kids and people in the world that have never received a vaccine at all. Like their parents did not allow doctors to give them a vaccine, and these babies, these children, never get sick. Why? The parent already got sick. The parents already been through that. So, and it's in the DNA. So the body knows how to defeat those things. What they do with these vaccines is that they develop new ways to put it into your body, put it in the kid's body, so that and the kid is not ready for that. So now that's how you have kids that get sick and shit. Okay, it's all about weakening us. That's what you see when you're woke. It's all about there's a million ways to weaken us, make you feel like you're a victim. Because when you understand how much power people have, when you understand that the true power, free will, the true power that you're able to create, you're able to manifest things, you're able to attract energy, you're able to give energy. You know what I'm saying? Once you understand those things, then you can see like, all right, bang, I don't need all that. When you watch, TV, movies, and the music, you could filter what you hear. You could filter things. You could see how hip hop music, what is really meant to do, maybe not when it first came out, but I want to say since probably like early mid 90s, probably from the 90s going forward and stuff like that, right? It was controlled and programmed. Mainstream hip hop was controlled and programmed, right? In the 80s, you had Fight the Power, you had Fuck the Police, and Fuck Authority, you know what I'm saying? Rebellious, Unity. You had all those things in the 80s. And then once the 90s came, you see the message changed. Now it's all about, fuck this person, fuck that other side, fuck niggas wearing another color, fuck other hoods, my hood is the best. Now it's all about stunting on the person you used to date, fuck this bitch, this and that. All these dividing mentalities is all about dividing, 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 dividing. Programming niggas in the hood to be aggressive towards other niggas in the hood. You feel me? Stunt on the next nigga, right? Take from the next nigga, kill the next nigga. You get what I'm saying? That's why you notice in altercations and stuff like that, right? In altercations where people use the word nigga, it could get more and more aggressive and turn into something. In altercations where you hear guys use the word bro, it tends to get, talked out and settled down. As long as there's no instigation put into place, right? So ladies, please do not instigate when men are, confronting each other. Because anything you guys say will make it turn left. Okay? Anything you guys say. It don't matter if you cheer somebody on or you defend somebody. If you're not gonna get your hands dirty, so it's best when men are, having confrontation, that y'all just stay quiet and just let it play out. Okay? I don't care how gangster you think you are, how thug you think you are, whatever like that. If you're not gonna get your hands dirty, you're not gonna take a punch to the face from somebody, then don't speak up during that, because a lot of times what happens is men are having a confrontation that's just 100% verbal, and we're just speaking to each other, and we're seeing the other person's body language, the other person's tone, and we have our own form of respect and stuff like that. And y'all do not understand that. Y'all do not. Yeah, to y'all it looks aggressive and it looks, challenging and stuff, because the way women confront each other is very subliminal, very passive. So it's totally different. So now you want to say something in that moment, and what's going to happen is that you're going to trigger a protective instinct in us that now is going to take whatever the competition is to the next level, which makes things dangerous. All right, I just want to throw that in there because I see it happening way too much, and I also tell girls that I even date and stuff like that, things like that. You feel me? But anyway, so yeah, our bodies are computers. Our mind is a computer and stuff like that. We watch, we're programmed. The music industry is training us to be divided and stuff. One of the best examples, right? Because you would think, oh, it's because of races, classes, and stuff. It goes so deep the way they got us divided. The music that you got divided in like the most dumbest way. You go to a black neighborhood, right? A black guy wearing a different color, has beef with this guy who looks just like him but wears a different color, and it's from the same neighborhood, but he wears a different color. So because of that one difference, they have a problem, right? They got to kill each other, whatever. I remember growing up, I was normally like the only Latino in the group, because when I would go to school, they had the Spanish classes and they had the mainly English classes. So it would be some Puerto Ricans in there, and then mostly black, and I would probably be like the only Dominican there. Like most of the Dominicans were in the Spanish classes. A lot of I got into a lot of fights because I wasn't passive, I wasn't whatever like that, and but I'm different. I'm new and I'm different. So the dudes that are there will like team up on me. I'll have to like, defend myself and have to fight and stuff like that. Sometimes even my own friends, just so that way they could be like, all right, okay, cool, you're one of us. You passed the test and shit, right? You gotta fight your way in sometimes. It's not enough being cool. Like you can't just be cool. Nah. We gotta make sure that you're cool, that you bout it, all that shit. And I had to keep on doing that because I moved around so much, right? I was in after school programs that were like mostly black, school, all that shit, mostly black, mostly black, mostly black. I'll be the only Spanish dude, so I have to keep on going through this. So I'm thinking like, oh, so but I knew it wasn't that like black people has to be against Latinos, because a lot of times my best friends in school, in that school programs and stuff like that, will be black. Eventually we'd be cool ass friends and we'd be doing mad dumb shit and funny shit and things like that. And then when I went to Jersey, it was mostly Spanish, and I was still treated the same way. And I would still have to sometimes fight my way to be cool with people and shit like that. But and we were all Latino, but I was different. I was from New York, so bang, early days only Latino. Then okay, from New York. Then I remember I went to high. Let's see, I went to eighth grade. I was in IS 52. All right, that's like by Dykeman. Shout out IS 52, right? Shout out everybody from Dykeman. And it was of course it was mostly Latinos, mostly Dominicans in there and shit, right? And dudes had beef from different blocks. Literally, like these dudes look the same, they talk the same, they dress the same, listen to the same music, all that shit, right? And they would have a problem with another nigga because he was the very next street over, right? Like Vermilia would have a problem with a nigga from Post. Vermilia and Post is like right literally the next block over. These niggas are exactly the same. You know what I'm saying? That shit baffled me. That me coming from the Bronx and I was there, I was like, yo, why I got a problem? Oh no, these niggas is pussy, these niggas this and that, right? It's always the same story, you know. But what it is really is limited resources, right? And there's a lot of people. What's the limited resources? Females. Okay, a lot of times it was over girls or money. Girls or money. And you're getting money so you could get girls. You feel me? At the end of the day, human beings and animals and stuff like that were programmed for sex, right? Because sex is our way of reproducing, is our way of extending our bloodlines, passing on our DNA. It's our way of being immortal, our way of living longer is through our children, right? Keeping our bloodline going. So there's that. Then I remember going to G Dubs, shout out G Dubs, George Washington, also in the Heights, and then dudes from the Heights had beef with dudes from like Dykeman. The only thing that separate these two dudes, these two groups of guys, is a hill. It's literally a hill. It's a hill and a couple of streets that separates the Heights from Dykeman. These dudes, once again, they're both Dominican. They're all Dominican. They dress the same, listen to the same music, smoke the same kind of weed, right? Like the same kind of girls, everything the same. Only difference is where they live, the hill, that hill. That's it. But they created all these thoughts of division. Oh, no, those niggas is pussy. Them niggas be trying niggas. Them niggas. Da, 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 da. And it's a tribal mentality, right? You develop a tribe with the people around you. That's your way of survival. That's your way of protection. That's your way of providing. You get a bunch of friends and stuff. You guys are always outside, and you find ways to get money. You find ways to get girls and shit like that, right? Amongst your crew, because remember, resources are limited, and because there's so many people, right? The very next block over or down the street and stuff like that, those guys are doing the same thing. It's a pack mentality because remember the hood is like the wild. So packs are the best, most successful hunters are packs. So the best providers are gonna be guys that know how to work in a team. Okay, one drug dealer is not gonna make as much money as 10 drug dealers. Feel me? One scammer is not gonna make as much bread as a group of like 15 scammers. Okay, that squad is gonna make more money than that one scam. You're limited. And it goes the same way even with girls, right? Even with girls. One dude, yeah, he could get a bunch of girls for himself and shit, but he's gonna be spending a lot of money, wasting a lot of time, energy, and effort, right? But when you got a group of niggas, you got a group of your boys and stuff like that, and y'all all agree, like, yo, yeah, we're gonna go get girls and stuff, da da da, we're gonna hire these joints. Now, one day, one dude has the girls, another dude has the girls, you feel me? And also, women love being around groups of men that they don't feel threatened by. Let me add that in there. If you're able to put together a group of men that can make women feel comfortable, make them feel like they're not judged, like they could be free, like, you know, let them feel feminine in the circle, then you feel me? Your group is always gonna be attracting girls. You feel me? Girls gonna want to be part of your group. They're gonna want to chill with your group. They're gonna want to go out with your group, right? That's why we can make that song. She's loving the crew. Women feel safe when they're around groups of men. That's when they feel most protected. So a lot of times is when they're most feminine. You know what I'm saying? That's why like you see girls when they're with groups of niggas, that's when, they want to be twerking and doing all this crazy shit and, drink more, they get more lit and stuff like that because they feel safe, they feel protected. All right? As long as, you're not with a crew of bozos and shit, you're not a crew of soft niggas, or you're not with a crew of dudes that, are judging girls, making them feel bad, trying to over control them. There's a balance there. Anyway, back to being woke, right? That's the music industry dividing us, and that's what they use. They use money and women as a reminder to guys of the limited resources. So when resources are limited, it creates, competition. Competition creates aggression. Aggression creates division. Division creates ignorance. Ignorance creates fear. Fear creates stress, and stress creates disease. That's why you have all of these negative emotions in the hood, systematically put in place there. Systematically. That's why, they keep on building more buildings in New York, right? But they're not putting up more parking spots. Why is that? Limited resources. Parking spots are going to be super limited. If you limit parking spots, what's going to happen? You're going to have people becoming more and more aggressive, more and more competitive for parking spots. You're going to have people being more aggressive towards other people for parking spots. You're going to have people being divided over parking spots, right? Which is the goal. The goal is to divide people because with division comes ignorance. If you're from the Heights and you're beefing with niggas from Dykeman, so you don't go to Dykeman, right? Niggas from Dykeman don't go to the Heights. Then what's gonna happen is what's going on in Dykeman, what's going on in the Heights, y'all not gonna know about it, right? What they're learning, you feel me? If they learn how to do something new, if they got something going on, if they know how to track something, if they found something new out, or if the government is doing something different there, you're not gonna know because y'all divided, y'all don't communicate with each other. That thing of ignorance. So let's say they try something out in Dykeman, like a new food, right? That gets people sick. Dykeman knows it gets people sick. Then they bring that food to the Heights. And because y'all don't communicate with Dykeman, they can't tell you, like, hey, look, that food gets people sick. You're not gonna know. So what's gonna happen? You're gonna eat that food, and now y'all gonna get sick too. Bang. Now, the media, let's say the media shows people from Dykeman and people from the Heights getting sick, but they're not telling people from Harlem why. People from Harlem are like, yo, people in the Heights, people in Dykeman are getting sick, but they don't know why. They don't know it's from food, right? They're just like, yo, look, these people are getting sick. But because people from Harlem don't communicate or they're divided from people from the Heights, people from Dykeman, right? There's nobody telling them that what's getting us sick was this food, right? There's a division there. So people from Harlem are ignorant to what's causing the sickness. Now the media takes that ignorance and they create fear. Now they're telling Harlem, oh, it could be from this, it could be from the air, it could be from that, da da da, right? They're telling Harlem like, yo, it's from the air, this and that, da da da. Now people from Harlem have fear because what fear is false evidence appearing real. So they got fear now. Now they're scared because they don't know, and the media is telling them something that they can't see, they don't know, they can't feel and touch, even though it's the food that's getting those people sick. It's the food getting them sick. But Harlem doesn't know that. So that food, the same food, will go to Harlem and people will get sick. And now Harlem is believing the media because the media was like, oh yeah, it's the air, it's this bird, if there's pigeons, if there's pigeons in your neighborhood, the air from the pigeons, will get you sick and da da da. Because Harlem does not communicate and Harlem is divided from the Heights indictment, they're going to be ignorant and they're going to believe whatever information comes to them because that's the information they're receiving. Then let's say if you got like, 2 or 3 dudes from Harlem that are cool guys from the Heights and Dykeman, and they tell them that like, yo, nah, it's not pigeons, it's not the air, it's the food, it's the soup that we ate, da, 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 the soup that they make at this restaurant that, anybody that ate from there got sick, and that's what's going on. So now those people from Harlem that found that out are gonna try to tell people in the community that, right? But let's say if the news knows that, if the news knows that if the news knows the truth, if the news, the media, the mainstream media knows that, yo, it's the soup getting people sick, but since they're divided and they're listening to us now, they're relying on us more, we could control the narrative. So we could say, no, it's not the soup that's getting us sick, right? So before those people from Harlem could even tell them that, right? The mainstream media uses somebody that they trust, somebody from Harlem neighborhood. Let's say you want to use somebody like Cameron or Mace. So now you got somebody like Cameron or Mace on the mainstream media, telling you from Harlem, yo, nah, yo, niggas out here saying it's a soup and shit. Ain't no fucking soup, yo. Scientists and these niggas is saying that, yo, it's the pigeons in the air that's getting niggas sick. Like, come stop with that bullshit, da, 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 right? And because people, trust the celebrities, trust this figure, and listen to this mainstream media, they're like, oh yeah, it must be the pigeons in the air, this and that, da da. But Harlem and Mace, I mean Mace or Cameron or whatever, probably got paid, $10 million just to say that. And because they don't give a fuck, they say it, and they only tell their people from Harlem, yo, look, it's the soup, nigga, don't eat the soup. It's the soup getting niggas sick. You feel me? Da da da. You better keep that shit on the hush. So now the dudes that know that it's a soup in Harlem that's trying to spread the word, people are like, ah, you're conspiracy theorists and shit like that. And then they're telling you like, yo, nah, like I'm cool with like I got niggas from Harlem and I got niggas from Dykeman and shit. And they telling me, yo, that they were getting sick from the soup. They were telling me that. Like and those they were the first ones getting sick. And then they're gonna tell you like, yo, prove it. And it's like, nigga, how am I gonna prove it to you? I'm gonna eat this in front of you and get sick for you? Like, nah, that don't make fucking sense. You know what I'm saying? You have to believe me. So only people that like trust your word at that point will trust that you know what the hell you're talking about. So it's this big ass web of lies and bullshit. And that's basically how being woke works. You notice a division, you try to eliminate that division to eliminate the ignorance, to eliminate the fear. That's why connecting with people is so important. That's why the media wants isolation, wants division. Okay? Movies, Hollywood, music industry, the radio, all talk about how dangerous people are and tell you things to divide you from the people. Division creates ignorance, ignorance creates fear. Okay? It's all about controlling you. And that's what I'm gonna share for now. All right, that's how it is like to be woke. Remember, it's gonna be an emotional process. You either gonna get when you realize these things, you're gonna get angry, you're gonna get sad and stuff like that. But you gotta be patient. Be patient with yourself. Write these emotions down, and ask questions and look for answers. While as you ask questions and look for answers, you realize how powerful people are. You become less of a victim, and you take more control over, you know, what's going on to you in your life and to people around you and stuff like that. And you have more faith in yourself. Okay? So that's all I got to share for now. It's your boy, the God. I'll let y'all next time. One.